Good morning and welcome to Sunday School. I hope you're having a good weekend so far. Uh, got up to 111 in the backyard again yesterday, and Constance and I both survived, although just barely. Anyway, uh, I hope you've enjoyed your weekend so far. Uh, Constance and I have been talking about subjects for the upcoming um, Monday night magic classes and things. And, I'm always thinking about uh, subjects for uh, books or essays or pamphlets or whatever it is may come my way. And Constance suggested something very, very interesting, and it's a very good suggestion. Uh, we're old. Okay, we're both of us are 77 years old. That means we sort of started to come to the beginning of our spiritual journey uh, in a kind of a serious, more adult way in the late 1960s. Okay. Uh, Sometimes when I uh, play shows or little music concerts, I've got some songs like "I Wish I Were Krishna" and uh, my songs have a kind of a spiritual dimension to them because I have sort of a spiritual dimension to me. And I joke is part of my in between songs chatter. Uh, I'll say, people are always asking me, Lon, how did you get so wise? And then I sing, I usually introduce my song, I'm Babylon. I am a man like any man with face of tan and cheeks of, wait, I am a man like any man, with feet of clay and cheeks of tan. But when I wrap my turban on, the gods are near. I'm Babylon. I eat too much, I drink too much. Uh, a lazy or a greedy, selfish such and such. But when I wrap my turban on, my mind is clear. I'm Babylon. Well, I'm not going to do the whole song for you. The point is, uh, Constance and I have a particular sort of uh, worldview and spiritual uh, point of view uh, because of our early self-education. I guess you could just wrap it up to that. And that self-education was uh, flowering in the mid to late 1960s. Um, Maybe partially because of the psychedelic revolution or the introduction to mind expanding psychedelics and things like that. Certainly, it played a big part in snapping me out of the Nebraska mindset. Uh, but there was very little going on, and we really had to dig for stuff. Okay, and yeah, there were well, mostly what were called head shops, where you'd buy your marijuana paraphernalia. You couldn't buy any marijuana there, certainly not that way. Go to prison, get executed in Texas for that. But uh, by paraphernalia, bongs and rolling papers and incense and and posters, and a lot of Hindu posters. Beautiful, beautiful Mother Divine and Krishna and Vishnu and uh, and that one Krishna Arjuna Krishna poster that Jimi Hendrix used in one of his album covers. Are You Experienced? I think was the name of the album. But they also carried a few little books. Okay, a few little books, yoga books, and things mostly connected to just sort of at that time wasn't mainstream, but mainstream yoga books and things like that. A few things. And then I was still going to college at the time, and there was a college library, and I checked out a few things, some of which I took home with me. And but big bookstores like it was called B. Dalton's Pickwick Bookstore. Okay, just big bookstore. And it was in South Coast Plaza. We had to go to a kind of a mall and, wear shoes. And and so there was an Eastern mysticism section, and you can find esoteric things. But mostly it was really, and I've got actually the actual books. There was a thing called Peter Popper Press. Okay, Peter Popper Press. Let's see if we can get an imprint. And their little books like this. Okay, they were inexpensive. This was Little Flowers of St. Francis of Assisi. And we knew that we kind of trusted. They were sort of white bread kind of mysticism and things like that. But they were good stuff. Okay, there's that. We got the sayings of Buddha. This has got us into haiku. Okay, here's a couple haiku books. Okay, now these were and continue to be in the DuQuette Hippie Mystical Library. And other poetry. Here's Emily Dickinson. Now, everybody, I don't care what you're into or what religion you think you are, these are good little books to educate you with. Got the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Okay. But the one that really got us was the Book of Tao. The Key to the Mastery of Life. Now, this little book got me into checking this little book out of the school library. As a matter of fact, I've got the very one right here that I put a little leather thing on top of it. This is another one. And the reason I'm telling you this is because one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. And the libraries and the information got a little more serious and a little more deeper and a little more scholarly as we grew up. But the more scholarly versions were much more easily digested, having a nice foundation in the more informal versions. Does that make sense? Finally, we've got this from Aleister Crowley. I don't know if you can here. I'll just take this thing up here. It says on the leather strip there, the Tao Te King. And it's Crowley's interpretation of the Tao Te Ching. And if I would have started with this, I would have gone, fuck this. What? Okay. But instead, I started with this. And I'm just going to share with you what I'm talking about. Here's how this started. This was the appetizer that started all of this. The Tao described in words is not the real Tao. Words cannot describe it. Nameless is the source of creation. Named is the mother of all things. Things, okay. To see Tao, the observer must be motiveless. Those with selfish motives only see the surface, not the innermost depths. These two kinds of observers look alike, but different in insight of their observations. They look alike because they are both human. Within humanity is the key to the door of creation. There's something mysterious, without beginning, without end, that existed before heaven and earth. Unmoving, infinite, standing alone, never changing, it is everywhere, and it is inexhaustible. It is the mother of all. I do not know its name. If I must name it, I call it Tao, T-A-O, and hail it as supreme. Supreme means never-ending. Never-ending means far-reaching, and far-reaching means returning. Thus Tao is supreme, and the heavens are supreme. Earth is supreme, and man is supreme. There are 4 supremes in the universe. Man is one of them. Man is subject to the laws of the earth is subject to the laws of the universe is subject to the laws of Tao. And Tao is subject to the laws of its own nature. Tao is a vast, immeasurable void. It can be used to infinity. It is truly inexhaustible. Like nature, it appears to be the origin of everything. In it, conflicts, sharp edges, are satisfied, rounded. Differences, tangles, are resolved, untied. Disturbances, turmoil, are quieted, submerged. It is like a deep, dark pool. I do not know its source. It is like a prelude to nature, a preface to God. Now, look for it cannot be seen. It is invisible. Listen for it cannot be heard. It is inaudible. Reach for it cannot be touched. It is intangible. These 3 are beyond analysis, and these 3 are one. It rises like the sun, but does not illuminate. It sets like the sun, but does not darken. Without beginning, without end, infinite, indefinable. It is the form of the formless. It is existence in non-existence. It is the greatest mystery. Meet it, and it has no face. Follow it, and it has no back. Hold close to the ancient Tao and be master of your present existence. Knowing the present, you mirror the past. This is the clue to Tao. Okay, that's how that starts off. Now, in keeping with the old hippie mystical library, um, the 17-year-old, yeah, I guess 17-year-old Lon Milo, uh, fresh from Nebraska. Uh, if I would have gone straight to the library and read that, because I was kind of a materialist atheist, I knew there was big stuff out there, and I had, spiritual feelings, and I love sort of an intangible God. But I would have never got into that just fresh from Nebraska. It really did take a couple of pretty massive doses of LSD. And when I pick that up, I go, shit, man. Okay, okay. Somebody way back when got this. Okay. So there's that. That same thing in a more scholarly translation. This one here, okay, and it's translated by, let's give him credit, Dr. D.C. Lau. Okay. The way that can be spoken of is not the constant way. The name that can be named is not the constant name. The nameless was the beginning of heaven and earth. The named was the mother of the myriad creatures, or all this stuff. Okay. Hence, always rid yourself of desires in order to observe its secrets, but always allow yourself to have desires in order to observe its manifestations. These two are the same, but diverge in nature as they issue forth. Being the same, they are called mysteries. Mystery upon mystery, the gateway of the manifold secrets. And see if you can recognize this from the last thing I read. The whole world recognizes the beautiful as beautiful, yet it is only the ugly. While the whole world recognizes good as good, yet this is only the bad. Thus, something and nothing produce each other. Difficult and easy complement each other. The long and the short offset each other. The high and the low incline toward each other. Note and sound harmonize with each other. Before and after follow each other. Therefore, the sage keeps the deed that consists in taking no action, and practices the teaching that uses no words. There is that wonderful, absolute, Constance and I consider it holy, television series called Kung Fu, starring David Carradine. If you've never seen an episode of Kung Fu, try to see it from the very, very beginning. Okay, you'll recognize all this shit. Okay, the myriad creatures. That's everything. Okay, the myriad creatures rise from it, yet it claims not authority. It gives them life, yet claims no possession. It benefits them, yet exacts no gratitude. It accomplishes its task, yet lays claim to no merit. And because it lays claim to no merit, that its merit never deserts it. Okay, now that's a bit more, I think, a bit more technical and scholarly translation from the original Chinese. Okay. To contrast that, and with a whole bunch of different translations. Uh, Helen Parsons Smith, let's see, she sent me a postcard with this. Back in 1980, 81, sent us this. She published it herself. She was Thelema Publications. She published this in 1976, shortly after I joined the OTO. And this is of 100 copies. This is number 18. She was kind enough to sign it. I stamped it with my fresh Adios Sat Bene, so far so good stamp. And it's one of our treasures. It's bound in silk with that leather. It is one of our treasures. I'm not a collector, so I really don't have an expensive library, but I got a couple things that are more sentimental than actually valuable. But this is how the wordy, and by the time he wrote this, a pretty damn as good as a Westerner could have been educated and trained, and the loquacious poet that Aleister Crowley was, inspired by the Book of the Law and the whole idea of Thelema and do what thou wilt and love is the law and all of that. And if you read the Book of the Law, you can see the Tao running all through the concept of Thelema. But if you started with the if you started with the Thelemic texts, it's sort of it's challenging, okay, to get it from it directly. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to read just about that. Chapter 1, and he's got it broken up. The nature of the Tao is the thing here. The Tao path is not the all Tao. The name is not the thing named. Unmanifest, it is the secret Father of heaven. And then he shows, Crowley, he shows the Yi Ching hexagram, the male hexagram, the creative, and then he shows the earth hexagram of broken lines there. Trigrams. He shows the trigram of the receptive, okay, so. Unmanifest, it is the secret Father of heaven and earth. Manifest, it is their mother. Unmanifest, it's the Father. Manifest, it is the mother. Our friend, well, anyway. To understand this mystery, one must be fulfilling one's will. And if one is not thus free, one will but gain a smattering of it. The Tao is one, and the Te, or Day, Tao is spelled T-A-O, and Te, or Day, is spelled T-E-H. It's the Tao De Jing. Okay. The Tao is one, and the Day but one phase thereof. The abyss of this mystery is the portal of serpent wonder. Now, if I would have read that at first, I'd go, the little second, it goes on, and he's got this under the category, the energy, the source of self. All men know that beauty and ugliness are correlative, as are skill and clumsiness. One implies and suggests the other. So also existence and non-existence pose the one the other. So also is it with ease and difficulty, length and shortness, height and lowness. Also music exists through harmony of opposites. Time and space depend on contraposition. By use of this method, the sage can fulfill his will without action and utter his word without speech. All things arise without diffidence. They grow, and none interferes. They change according to their natural order, without lust of result. The work is accomplished, yet continueth in its orbit, without goal. This work is done unconsciously. This is why the energy is indefatigable. Now, that's pure gold. Okay, this is really good stuff. And with just a tiny bit of old hippie library foundational understanding of the Tao, or familiarity with the Tao Te Ching, it comes alive. Okay, let's see if I need to go on. Let's see. Oh, there's three things under the thing of quieting folk. To reward merit is to stir up emulation. To prize rarity is to encourage robbery. To display desirable things is to excite the disorder of covetousness. Therefore, the sage governeth men by keeping their minds and their bodies at rest, by contenting the one by emptiness and others by fullness. He satisfieth their desires, thus fulfilling their wills and making them frictionless. And he maketh them strong in body to a similar end. He delivereth them from the restlessness of knowledge and the cravings of discontent. As to those who have knowledge already, he teaches them the way of non-action. Thus being assured, there is no disorder in the world. Now, much of the Tao Te Ching sounds actually like it is giving advice to a ruler, okay, or a king, or an emperor or something. And in the very beginning of the true Peter Pauper Press hippie mystical library, the little introduction says, how did this guy get so wise? Or kind of, how did the I Ching come about? Here's what he says. The Tao Te Ching, the book of Tao and how to attain it, is at least 2,500 years old. As an ancient nature philosophy, it is surely much older, having been passed down from one generation to another before the advent of writing. Tao, pronounced Tao, is a word which defies literal translation into English. It has been translated as nature, the way, the ultimate reality, truth, God, enlightenment, or the absolute. None of these is adequate. Te, pronounced duh, yeah, really, pronounced duh, Tao De Jing. Oh God. Duh is such a Taoist expletive. Excuse me, a light bulb just went off my head. Te, pronounced duh, has also variously translated as integrity, virtue, character, honor, reason, best, best conduct. Duh. Intelligence or true wisdom. Duh. It is the highest human attainment, but again, it defies accurate translation. Jing means book. And I'm saying this, I'm sure I'm pronouncing everything wrong, so cut me some slack. I'm from Nebraska. The legend has it, here it comes. The legend has it that Tao Te Ching was written by Lao Tzu, which in Chinese would sound like Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu means worshipful master or wise teacher. When Lao Tzu was 90 years old, so the legend goes, he left his work as keeper of the archives, he was a librarian, to go into the hills to await death. But the frontier guards would not let him pass until he had written down his wisdom for future generations, and obviously for the emperor. Thus Tao Te Ching was written. There is no known original manuscript of the Book of the Tao in existence. All we have are copies of copies. It is composed of 81 sutras, or strands of thought, in 5,000 Chinese picture words. Most translation lists the sutras in strict numerical order, despite the fact that over the centuries they appear to have become disarranged. The present version is divided into 4 parts, etc., etc., etc. Okay. That being said, all of that being said, I have great respect for the Tao. As a matter of fact, the Tao has helped me understand at least my current level of partial understanding of Thelema. And back in, what's the year? Back in 2005, so 20 years ago, my good friends at Nicholas Hayes contacted me to have me read a book by called Finding the Way, a Tao for Down-the-Earth People, by Susan Montag. Okay, and they sent me the manuscript. I read it and was totally blown away. Okay. And so I wrote a little introduction. I wrote the foreword to it. But in addition to augment, not in contrast to, but to augment a very, very knowledgeable but modern take on that, on the Tao, here's what she wrote. Before we invented language, there were no words to say one thing was different from another thing. That means that all the differences of the world were invented by people. A person who is all prim and serious is exactly the same as one who goes around swearing and acting rowdy. The only reason one is respected and the other is not is because words were invented to say one is better than the other. Instead of saying one is good and one is bad, it would make more sense to say that is just the way of life, because all things are part of the way of life, and the way of life is in all things. If you say you like one thing best, that must mean you like other things less. If you say, this is my good kid, the other kid must be the bad one. Life and death seem like opposites of each other, but have you ever thought that you can't have one without the other? Do you understand that without difficult, easy does not exist? Without long, there is no short. Without high, there is no low. Think about this. If all people could sing beautifully, no one would have a beautiful singing voice. Singing would be like the air. We would not notice it. Therefore, only a foolish person hates another person for being different. If each person was the same as every other person, we would all disappear. Don't feel like you're a good person just because you own lots of things. Owning things is what it takes to be. If owning things is what it takes to be a good person, people will want to take away the things you own so that they can be good people too. Instead of causing envy, let people feel complete. Let them know what they know and share what you have to eat. They will grow strong and content so that they'll need to take no action. And when people take no action, the work of peace has been done. Once, nothing existed, but from within the nothing, there was the potential of all things. That means that nothing was the mother of everything. This is why we naturally think in opposites. Smooth opposed to rough, bright opposed to dim, windy opposed to calm. But where did this nothing come from? This is the thing I can't answer. The way of life has no prejudice. It treats all people the same. If you are wise, you will understand what this means. No matter how much money you have, no matter how carefully you have lived your life, you still can't breathe underwater. You still won't be able to fly in the air if you fall off the roof. Life is like a sailboat. The way of life is like the wind that blows it one way, then the other. It'd be pretty stupid to stand there and wonder if a sail is full of wind or if it is empty of wind, when anyone can see it has to be empty on one side and full on the other. Life, too, has to be empty in order to be full. Again, that is the book. I don't know if it's still in print or not. Okay. Finding the Way, The Tao for Down-to-Earth People by Susan Montag. It's got a few beautiful photographs in it too, all half-tones and stuff. Anyway, that is Sunday School for today. And I think Constance and I, or at least we're going to prepare a list or a bibliography of old hippie mystical library, I think we'll call it. As a matter of fact, I was privileged. I was asked by the good folks at Wiser Books, who wanted to publish an e-series of what they called the Wiser Antiquarian Bookshop or something, and asked me to pick some of my favorites from the past, and they're like $1 a piece or something on for download, and so I sort of started this project already. But anyway, we'll see where that goes. Tomorrow I'll probably be getting ready for Monday Night Magic class, which will be the third and final of our little discussion on on the practicality or the impracticality of Goeshiki vocation. Uh, so we may be talking a little Goesha talk tomorrow. But until then, once again, I've gone way over. Sunday school is dismissed. Go fishing. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.